Well, I'm Nural Habib. I'm a professor in transportation engineering, and well, my general research area is transport planning in general, and then specifically, I work mostly on the demand side of transportation. The term model in transportation engineering and planning will be used slightly differently than the concept of model in general. So, by term model, we mean the mathematical formulation of reality. Okay, so interesting thing which is related to my research is we deal with a complex system where we have transportation network, which is physical infrastructure. You see, they have roads, you have transit system, which is physical elements out there, right? And then we have virtual system like control systems, control mechanism, and over and above those physical and virtual systems are placed in urban context and being used by human beings. So interaction between all of these, which is physical, virtual, and human being in urban context, makes things complicated. In complicated sense, not everything works in linear fashion as you can presume. So my research is basically dealt with a specific type of model. You can have a model that deals with aggregated movement of people all over this space without necessarily dealing with individual human being or individual components and stuff. And this type of very aggregate top level model is called macroscopic model. So macroscopic model is sometimes very useful for very large scale, high level, very over the top crude investigations. I fundamentally work on human choice behavior. So the model we develop are basically, if you look at very crude perspective, are basically model for making model of people's decision making process, because it's in transportation it's all about human decision. I mean, if I give a very crude example, if you go out in the field right now and count number of cars using Gardner Expressway, for example, let's take a number. Let's say we found n number of cars are using the highway right now. Okay, so what does it mean? That means n number of car drivers have decided to use that highway. And if you go further details, you see that those n number of drivers are going to do some activities at different directions. All of them are not always destined to the same locations. And if you further look at their behavior, they may be coming from different parts of the Greater Toronto area. So the human behavior is very complex or very heterogeneous in that case. So my research group develops models on human decision making process that are related to transportation. So we observe people, what they are doing through cameras and various technologies. We ask people what they are doing, why they are doing too. Okay, so observation of the system and people's behavior is fundamental and crucial for our understanding. And the research we do are quantitative research and based on evidence. So whatever model I've been talking about are evidence-based model. So we need information of observation for that purpose. But when I say modeling is trying to replicate the way people behave, so that once you replicate that one, you can use it an artificial or virtual world to test your policy. But when like the decision maker like government and semi-government organizations come, they try to come up with an objective, and from my point of view, I often help them through research or consulting project, either way, to develop study that can enable to find answers to the question they are looking for. So one question could be like, how effective, for example, putting a toll on Gardner Expressway could be. I mean, toll to recover money for its maintenance, but how effective it would be to maintain or to manage the traffic congestion. So if you come up with a question like that, you are interested to know how effective that tolling policy should be. So I can give you advice, or I can give you advice on how to design a study, and then step-by-step scientific evaluation process to find out quantitatively how effective it is, like what percentage of driver will still be driving, or what percentage of driver will switch mode of transportation for that, what percentage of people will be basically move their activity and location, and even to the finer details, we can even quantify how much the drivers will be willing to pay for using the highway to recover the congestion or whatever you can think about. But one of my masters and a PhD student has been developing an agent-based micro-simulation model for whole Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. So that model is very detailed, that can track individual people's movement on the space. So you can track 100% population of GTA and their movement on road network, and those are based on many number of models, and each models are related to each decisions the travelers are making, and travelers are making on their daily life that affect the transportation system. We don't make decisions, that's the bottom line, but we can inform the decision makers. Okay, so if decision maker, a particular, let's say one transport planner or decision maker, come to us and ask us which decision, they have a couple of decisions to make, which one he or she will pick up. What we can do, we can tell him after doing analysis, well, if you do this amount of benefit you're gonna get. So we can make him making informed decisions.